I was just telling
Yeah.
Britt, do you know the TikTokers Matt and Abby? They're like married. They live in Arizona now, and they have like
Do they have brown
baby.
hair?
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Well,
Is
she's, like,
she
kind of.
friends with Chris?
I don't even know who Chris is.
You don't know Chris, the guy who's like in
Chris
everybody's
Olsen?
TikToks? Yeah.
Oh, I love Chris. No, she's not friends with him.
Oh, I don't
Isn't
know
it so
then.
funny, like, how we don't know certain people, like,
I know they
Yes.
could
by
have
their
millions
names,
of
but
followers
you like,
too.
but you know that you know their Instagram handle or their TikTok
Well,
handle.
my 21-year-old sister does not know like any of the TikTokers that we know.
Really?
And I don't know any of the TikTokers she knows. Like, she doesn't know who Emily Kaiser is.
How
It's
interesting.
so interesting.
I know, it's so weird. That's like, there's so much room for so many people on social media.
It's so crazy. Well, so they make a lot of videos about like how they split up household duties and whatnot, and like they say that they just stick to very traditional gender roles, and so she's mostly the one that takes care of the baby and cleans the house and does that sort of thing, and he's the one that manages their business and finances and all of that. But people get mad because like they're like, you're both making the videos, like, so she's also working, like it's not like she's the only taking care of the baby. But then me and Cameron were talking about it and laughing because like back in the day that was such a thing of like you have to do the finances and pay the bills, and you're like out here writing checks and sending them in, and like now everything's on auto pay, like it's not a big deal to
Yeah.
pay bills and take care of the finances.
Well, also,
Yeah.
I don't understand why people are so pressed about like what works for somebody else. If it
Yeah,
works
that
for
also,
them, then
then let them do it.
shut
Yeah.
up.
I think people get concerned of like, are you okay? Like, are you being treated properly or something?
Yeah, I suppose so. But still, like, there could be a lot of things where like someone's just taking on a lot more responsibility at one period of time or another.
For sure.
Like,
Yeah.
if you were to start launching something like new with your business, like Cam might step up and do like more of the dishes or like,
Oh, that's like
you know,
what a relationship is. It's like
Yeah.
nobody's
Yeah.
ever at 100%. Like it's
No.
always picking up slack for the other one.
Yeah.
Or vice versa.
Or you're in my case where I do everything at my household and my sister
Yeah.
does nothing.
Or that's the case.
That is tough. I think it would be really hard to live with a sibling. I lived with one of my sisters for like a summer. And it was kind of
It's hard to
fun.
live with anyone because, like, even when I lived with my best friend, I started to resent her. Like,
Wait,
I
I
would
didn't
get
even know you lived with your best friend.
yeah.
Did she live in
When
your
did you
guest
do
room for a
that?
while?
Yeah, we lived in an apartment together, then we moved out, and then I bought this house and she moved into my guest room, and it was I would get so annoyed at her. It wasn't I mean, it was fun, but then it was also like I resented her sometimes for stupid things.
Yeah, it's hard. When my best friend came to live with us for like 8 months or whatever, the first day we went to Trader Joe's together and we were like grocery shopping, and we were like all excited and we were like, she's just moving in and stuff. And
Yes, yeah.
the cashier was like, I don't know if this is a good idea. Like your relationship is either gonna be ruined, like you'll never be friends again, or you'll get like so close. And we were like, okay. But it was
Yeah.
fine. But I definitely think living with a best friend is just never like the best idea.
Yeah. Unless you have like the perfectly aligned, like kind of like time spent with each other.
Yeah.
And then like cleanliness and then like chores that like kind of align together.
Yeah. And
Yeah, I definitely think
communication.
it's doable, but like with me, I'm so type A and like probably hard to live with.
Same. Like I'm like, you cleaned it, but you didn't clean it the way that
Yeah.
I wanted you to clean it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, welcome back to another episode of So Glad We're Friends. I'm Maggie.
I'm Devon.
I'm Brittany.
That was
I
fast.
don't
Like,
millennial pause.
That's weird because in my head, I started saying it before you even
Before.
finished saying your name. Yeah.
you're like,
That is my
Maybe
brain
I just
delayed?
process like a little bit slower.
I think so. I think it's our ADHD probably.
Maybe.
It's moving fast and slow.
So I just have to share this.
Go ahead.
So I guess there's maybe like an ADD Adderall like shortage or something. I don't know if that's for
Oh.
sure or not, but I like messaged my doctor like a month ago and I like didn't hear anything and I like they sent in my prescription apparently, but then like I didn't hear a call from like CVS or anything. And because of just like life, I just never followed up with CVS to see if they had my prescription.
Mhm.
And so like a month late, so I was like off of my Adderall for a month. And I thought I was okay, but like looking back on it, like I was not okay. Like, and I was struggling so hard. And I like really like I wasn't experienced like so I've gone off of it like for a couple days before, and I just feel like groggy and like kind of foggy brained a little bit. And so I didn't feel any of those symptoms. But then when I was like reflecting back on it, I was like, oh my God, like I was really like not okay the last like month
Mhm.
not being on it. And even just taking like, and so I only got one, I like got back to the doctor and like connected with CVS and figured out like I added my phone number again so they could call me when my prescription was done. But I still only got one of the medications. I only got my like immediate release version. And so
Wait, so do you take like the extended release
Extended.
normally daily, and then like the what is it called when it's just automatic?
immediate release.
Immediate release,
Yeah.
like when you need it, like in the moment type thing?
Yeah, normally I initially got it for like if I have to like work later. So like cuz the extended release kind of wears off at like 2 or 3.
Mm.
And then the immediate release is like good for like if I have to do something like later in the day. So I don't really take it all the time, but like I only got my immediate release, so I'm like cutting them in half. But I just feel like a different person. I'm like, okay, like
Isn't that so
note to
weird?
self, do not go off my Adderall, or like at least don't go like cold turkey like I did.
That's
But
exactly what happened to me when I cold turkey my Wellbutrin. I was like, I'm fine, and then, like,
oh
at
my
the end of
God.
it, when I got back on it, I was like, I was not fine.
I know. And
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know who I was kidding.
I
Like,
know, same.
I was like, oh, so last month was like a wash basically for everything.
Maybe if I get an Adderall prescription, I could be as productive as you.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like I feel like you have to everyone has to like play around with like different doses and medications and stuff. Did Wellbutrin not help you with like focus stuff?
It does they say, like, it's supposed to be depression, anxiety, and ADD, but, like, it's not actually an ADD medicine, so it's just, like,
Yeah,
some
it's not an
people
amphetamine.
experience no, so just some people experience feeling more clear-headed and focused, which I think I did, like, at first, or maybe, like, maybe it helps a little bit. I don't know. I don't think it helps that much.
Yeah.
I'm still all over the fucking place, so
I don't know. It was so bizarre. And I'm just so happy to be back. And I feel like myself again.
yay, that's
Because
good.
it was
Glad
just
you're
like
back.
a terrible, terrible month.
Have you taken medicine like that, Dev?
I've taken Adderall recreationally.
Did it make you feel just normal? Because that's like when I have taken it recreationally,
Adderall is
it
my
just feel normal.
favorite. Yeah, it's like I can hold a conversation with someone for hours, and it like cuts off my inhibitions of like being afraid to talk. I can make best friends with anybody when I'm on Adderall.
Oh, that's so interesting.
It's yeah, like the better version of myself.
That's so cool. For me, I feel like it turns off like my other thoughts. So like I'm
Yeah.
very much able to concentrate on one thing because like I'm not just like thinking about a million
Yeah,
things.
maybe it's like all the negative self-talk or something
Yeah,
that's
you're
like
not
going
thinking
on
about what
so
you're
much.
saying.
Yeah, so then you're just able to talk. And
Wow.
like, yeah, I don't get distracted while I'm trying to have a conversation with someone. Like I just like want to talk to people all day.
Yeah. I think the other thing, because it like affects your a lot of like I think it's your prefrontal cortex, a lot of like your decision
Mhm.
making as well. And so it's interesting like when you have the decision to do something or not to do something. And that's kind of like what I
Yeah.
was like experiencing of like, oh, like why was it harder for me to do something? And I was like reflecting
Mhm.
back and I was like, oh, well, duh. That makes so much
That's
sense.
Yeah.
literally it. Like being able to do the thing, yeah. And
I
anxiety,
talk a lot
depression, all
about
of that
like
stops you.
yeah, like you know when you have so many things on your to-do list or even just like 3 things and you can't decide which one to start on, so you
So
just
you're
don't
like, I'm
start
a
on
nap.
any.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean when I talk about it on social media, people are like, do you have ADHD?" Like, I don't know, but kind of that sounds like a symptom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for sure that's exactly what my doctor told me. And like she just said that I have ADD, not ADHD, because I'm not
Oh.
Yeah.
hyperactive.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
But
maybe that's
I
right.
think it's like a hard balance because with like for anxiety especially, I think it's like hard to figure out what the best balance of everything is for people because like
It's so hard.
obviously they're so interconnected. So it's like figuring out what dosing of Adderall, like when to take it, when to not take it, what type to take. Because I think it can really like impact anxiety and like
I feel like that's the most confusing part of my mental health is like what is what? Like is this
Yeah.
anxiety? Is this depression? Is my anxiety coming from ADD? Is this OCD?
They're all
Is my
intertwined.
Yeah.
Yeah, am I
And
autistic? Like, what is going on?
all the different things.
I watched this boy,
What is that?
neurodivergent. I
Yeah.
think I would feel comfortable like saying that I feel very neurodivergent, like
Yeah, well,
at
having
least on some,
ADHD or ADD is neurodivergent, right?
true.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was this podcast I was watching. What is his name? Rick Glassman.
Uh-huh.
Really good. Like he has a really good
What is he
podcast.
about?
It's on YouTube. Well, he's autistic and he just got diagnosed like a few years ago. So he didn't know growing up and everything. He's like in his late 20s, maybe early 30s. Probably
Mhm.
30s actually. And just everything he was saying, I was like really relating to every single
Oh,
thing. And I was
God.
like, oh no.
Yeah.
That's crazy that so is he like just very like low on the spectrum of autism?
Well, that's what he was explaining is it's not necessarily like a spectrum of like being it is a spectrum, but it's not like this is the lowest point and this is the
Oh,
highest point. It
it's
could
like
be
just
like
different
all the way around.
diagnosis of
Yeah, like you could be
Okay.
anywhere. Like imagine it as like a circle or a box rather than like a line.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
I like
Both
that.
Yeah. So he just said like everybody has different things. But I'm very like there's so many things about me. Like my clothes really need to be comfy. Like since I was little, I don't like scratchy clothes or like anything touching my body in a weird way. I don't like my food touching whatsoever. Like separate plates. I need separate
Uh-huh.
forks for every like if I'm eating 3 things on a plate, I need 3 different forks.
Like to
Really?
this day.
Yeah.
What do you do
That
at a
is-
restaurant?
At a restaurant, I suck it up. But they usually give you 2 forks and a spoon sometimes. And then I just like have to really wipe it off in between with my napkin. Make sure there's no
Elise-
more food.
Elise Myers was talking about when she was younger, she hated when her hands were dry, so she would
Yeah.
like lick them and stuff, like, and her hands would just be wet because she
Wait,
didn't.
I love that she shared
But
that.
I have that weird. I hate washing my hands if I don't have lotion because if they feel dry or like when I get out of the shower, I have to immediately put on lotion because I hate the
Same.
feeling of my skin being dry.
Like after you do
Some people
dishes.
just get out of the pool or
Yeah.
whatever and they're just like that all day long. I'm like, hell no, I have to shower and lotion.
Oh, no,
right
same.
away.
Every time.
That literally gave me goosebumps thinking about it. I don't like
Yeah.
that.
I hate that feeling. That's like in Colorado, I still like haven't fully figured out the best like like super hydration. I've been trying like tons of different skincare stuff. Just
Maybe
to
you
be,
should
like,
lick your hands.
I know.
Where your house is like your house at high altitude? Is like all of Colorado high altitude?
I don't know about
think
all of
so.
Colorado, but
It's a mile
Denver,
high.
I think we're at like 5,000 something feet.
Do you feel differences?
That is so high.
I don't really feel it anymore, but I definitely did when I first got here. And then going into the mountains, initially I would get like a little bit of altitude sickness, but I'm like fine now.
That's so interesting. I don't think I've ever like been anywhere like that where I
Yeah.
would feel that way.
Flagstaff. Have you been to Flagstaff?
Yeah. Is that
That's high altitude too, yeah.
Yeah, I think
Oh.
Joe told me Flagstaff is like actually pretty high up.
Yeah, like I remember moving my sister into college there. I was just like so out of energy and breath trying to like carry just things to her room.
That's so funny. My brother went to NAU for 1 semester, I think. Maybe
Oh,
1 year.
really?
Yeah, he
What
was like, I don't
university
like
is
the
there?
snow. Northern Arizona University.
How far away is it from you?
4 hours from me, closer to
2
that.
hours for me. Well, a
That's
little
not
less than
bad
2
at all.
hours.
That's like when we were like initially thinking about like where we wanted to move, we were like trying to convince ourselves that Arizona wouldn't be that bad because of Flagstaff, but
Yeah, it's
If
great
you
for
wanna
snowboarding
snow-
and stuff.
Yeah, summer would suck, and if you wanted to ski all the time, it would be a pain in the ass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the way that you are.
And it
for
wouldn't be as
sure.
good of snow.
yeah.
Yeah, I think Cameron thought when we moved out here that he would snowboard a lot more with the mountain being close, but because like his friends aren't here, like he rarely goes or rarely wants to go by himself. So he's like, I'd rather live in Arizona and go to Flagstaff and maybe have a not as great as a mountain, but be with my friends.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Is-
How
hard.
far is the
to-
mountain
Mount
from
Hood
you?
from you?
Yeah,
Close
like
to you?
40 minutes.
That's
45.
so close.
It's really close.
But
You
it's
guys
also
should
like
go,
such
like,
a
a weekend date.
hassle.
Yeah, it's like we can't leave the dog. We were thinking about doing like what you do with Rosie and just like
Yeah.
taking them. I don't know how they would do doing that, and I get so nervous that they'll get literally stolen. I don't know why I
Yeah.
have that fear. Like I think someone
You
will
know,
break into the car.
You could always test it out and just see how many other dogs are in the parking lot because like in Colorado, like everybody brings their dog to the parking lot.
Okay.
So if it's similar to how Colorado is, like you might see like literally 20 dogs in the parking lot and be like, oh, we're fine.
That's pretty
Like,
cool.
yeah, everyone's like normal about it. And like Rosie, we like came back one time and someone was like next to our car, like in their car, and they told us like they didn't even realize we had a dog with us because she was like quiet.
She was just
And,
laying
like,
down. Yeah.
yeah. Well, we take her crate with her.
That's
'Cause she
another thing is we
likes
don't
our
have a
crate.
crate right now, or I really want to
Yeah.
buy those like a Ruffland or a Gunner crate really
Yeah.
bad.
It's like so hard. We were thinking about like, what if we get another dog? Like, we're gonna have to get like a massive car so that we can have both crates and
Yeah,
all of our
that's
other
so
stuff that
true.
we want to take. But
Yeah, all your
I think
gear.
yeah. Especially just like traveling. I like every time we drive, I see trucks and I'm like, I really, really freaking want a truck. And I also want a Bronco and I want a Range Rover.
Ooh,
And
a Bronco. Those are every
think they're so
influencer
cute.
is that's what they get once they make enough money.
It's so
I
true.
know. But
There's
a
like
lot
a
of
list of cars.
a lot of people out here have the what are they called?
Forerunner.
Forerunner. Yeah.
I feel like that's the move lately. Is everyone's
know.
getting Forerunners?
That's so weird to me.
There are a
Why?
lot of Forerunners out in Oregon too.
So many.
Yeah. That makes sense.
What's weird to you about it, Dev?
I don't think they're cute.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I
like,
love my
convinced myself
Mazda.
they're cute.
I like don't care about cars whatsoever. Like I don't have any dreams of like I'm gonna get this car one day or anything. Like I really could care less about cars.
Yeah, I only care when other people care. Like
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
how it reflects back on me, but like
Uh-huh.
I want to just get a Toyota that will run for a long time. And
Yeah.
like I've had Volkswagen my whole life and they're such a pain in the ass. Like they run like
Really?
my car has over 100,000 miles and it's perfectly fine.
Oh,
But like
wow.
getting an oil change, it's always expensive. Getting the
Yeah.
battery change, it's a pain in the ass. Like I just want an easy car.
That's why I've like looked at a lot of different Toyota cars because I'm like
Yeah.
they have such a reputation for running for forever and not breaking down and
Yeah.
not being super expensive to maintain.
My
Yeah.
parents bought my car and they bought free maintenance for life. And so when I came out here, I was like, I'm gonna get a free oil change. It literally only applies to the Tucson dealership.
Oh my
So I've got
God.
to pay fully out here.
That sucks. I wonder how much they
That's
paid
so
for that.
unfortunate.
I know. I think it was thousands, honestly.
Oh, that
Maybe not. I'm
sucks.
just making up a number. My mom will let me know when she listens to this.
That is
Thank
really
you,
funny.
Mom.
I didn't even know you could do that. I wonder if that's still a thing.
It was Jim Click is the dealership, so I don't even know if you know Jim Click. Probably not.
No.
No.
I used to trick or treat in his neighborhood.
Did he give
He's
out like the
the
big
car
candy
dealership.
bars?
Oh yeah, he lived in the country club.
Oh yeah. We love that.
That is so funny.
Do you want to introduce the topic, Dev?
Yeah, so today we're going to be kind of taking a note from my current TikTok theme, but we're going to be talking about getting out of your comfort zone and like all things that are hard when you're growing up and trying to figure out how to be an adult and make friends
Be
and
independent.
yeah, be independent. So yeah, getting out of your comfort zones. We have some questions and we're just going to like kind of riff off of each other, I guess.
Yeah. Did you guys always feel like when you were little, was it hard for you to get out of your comfort zone? or is this like a newer thing?
I do not think so. I think I was like
Yeah.
very fearless when it came to like if I wanted to like go try something or introduce myself. Like I'm sure I like can remember, like I'm very vividly remembering like my first day of kindergarten and like walking into the classroom for the first time. But then I saw like this girl and I like went and sat down next to her and we became best friends. And like
That somebody
so
did that
cute.
for me when I was in
Same.
kindergarten.
Same, my friend
She saw
Savannah.
me and came over and befriended me.
Same. I was crying and she was like, "Hi, come be my friend."
Oh, I love girls like
We
that.
need you, Britt. This is why the world needs people like you.
yeah.
Like, I just don't think that was a word in my vocabulary when I was a kid, though.
Yeah,
It,
what a
also, like,
comfort
your
zone would
parents
be.
made you do everything that you needed to do. There was no, like, I have to do this for myself. And now as an adult, you start to realize, like, you need to do things to get out of your comfort zone to better your life. Otherwise, you're just going to be stuck in the same place for your whole life. But, like, as a kid, my parents signed me up for gymnastics. They take me to gymnastics. I need to go to the doctor. They take me to the doctor. I need to go to school. They take me to school. Like,
Yeah.
there wasn't a question.
But were there like things that you wanted and then you just like did them because you wanted them?
Winning first place at state in gymnastics all around, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
I feel like there's a lot of things when I was growing up that I just like wanted, and so I just like did it.
Like what?
And I'm like trying to think. There was this one time where like this girl started like selling jewelry for like one of the volunteer things that my dad did. And I was like, I'm gonna do that. So like I was like, Mom, like buy me this stuff to like make the jewelry. And then we like did it. We like sold the jewelry together, like sold soaps
Okay.
together. And so like I'm like this
Cute.
11-year-old girl like selling soaps at this like function with
That
one
is
of my
adorable.
friends.
Yeah,
And
I guess I always had a friend to do something like that with. I was never like having to do it by myself.
yeah.
That's where I don't understand myself because I did things like that. Like in second grade, I shaved crayons and then made like confetti out of the crayon shavings and then sold those to my classmates. Or like I'd get like fake flowers at Michael's and sell those. Or I made Maggie baggies.
Oh,
And I'd
Oh,
make
yeah.
I'd make purses out of duct tape and stuff and sell those. So like I had like confidence to do those things and like wanted to do that. But then like with things like riding my bike or like any sort of
Scary
adventurous or
things.
athletic or swimming or any of those, like I was always way too scared to do it. And I think it had to do with my parents a lot. I mean, they're both like amazing, amazing parents and everything, but they're very opposite. Like they're complete opposite people. So my mom oftentimes is more like, she doesn't have to, like, she's
Oh,
like, let her
yeah.
do what she wants. She doesn't have to do it. Like, it's okay, baby. And like make me feel safe. And like, that was good, but then my dad would be, like, yelling, like, "Do it, you gotta do it!"
yeah.
And so it was
Oh my
very, like,
God.
clashing, and so
Yeah.
I felt like, I don't know,
Ugh.
like, scared to do all of those
That's like
things
where your
because it was
people pleasing
clashing,
came from.
literally.
You're like, I want to
I'm
please
sure
both of them.
Yeah, and I couldn't.
it's
Yeah.
like hard also to like listen to your own voice with that because like you didn't really have time to like process like, oh, do I actually want to do this or do I just need a minute to like catch my breath and then I can
Well,
like
you
go
can't
and do
think
it.
like that as a
Exactly.
Like
kid.
your dad's like, do it. Your mom's like, you don't have to do it. And you like couldn't think like, oh, do I actually want to do this? Or
Exactly. Like, my dad always jokes, like, when he was teaching me how to swim, I'd be like, "Look at the bird," or, like, I'd, like, just always try to distract so I wouldn't have to do it, and, like, my mom literally would have to, like, go inside the house, like, or he would tell her to, so that way he could just teach me.
yeah.
I don't know. So I was always uncomfortable doing those things, like calling people on the phone, place orders,
Oh,
or
yeah. I
things
would
like that.
always
Couldn't do that.
ask my parents to like call for me. I would if I had to. That's kind of like the thing in my life. Like, if I really want it and I have to do it, I'll do it. But if somebody else will do it for me, that's even better.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
my thing with phone calls is, like, I didn't wanna do them in front of other people. So, like, if I had to order
Mm,
food or something, I wouldn't do it in front of my family. I'd physically go outside to call them so that
Yeah.
way nobody could hear me placing the order.
Yeah.
interesting.
I wonder why that's like such a big deal, like to call people. Because it is like for some reason there is like a lot of pressure with it.
Yeah,
I
I do
don't
think
like
it's
not being able
common.
to see them. Like, I would much rather go to someone in person
Yeah.
and directly ask them face to face. I don't know what it is about a phone call, but it scares me.
I think for me,
Yeah.
it's just like being misunderstood, or like, am I saying the
Yeah,
right things
because
to
there's
get what I
not
want, or like get my point across?
yeah, because there's not the face-to-face interaction. But there's also an immediate response, whereas like with text messaging or whatever, you don't have to like have that immediate back and forth.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's so true.
Maggie, I was going to ask you if your mom was afraid of everything and like always, because my mom is afraid of everything. She like grew up in the generation watching like the 24-hour news cycle, watching news every night and being like, oh my God, someone was just murdered at that gas station. You shouldn't go to that gas station. You know, just like,
Oh my
oh,
God.
that freeway is really dangerous at night. You can't drive on it at night. There are wrong way drivers. Just like everything was scary for her. And she always told me about how scary
it
it
was all
was. So like
scary.
I am afraid of everything because of that. Oh, that's some girl died doing a backflip off the balance beam. You know, just like everything is
Walking on a
scary.
curb. I remember that. I would walk on a curb and they'd be like, you're going to crack your head open.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Like, I think both of my parents kind of were like that. Like, you'll get kidnapped if you walk places.
Yeah.
You'll die if you do that. Like, yeah. But with her own life, I'm not sure. Like, to me, she's like a confident. I'd have to talk to her about that.
Yeah, my mom is too, but like my mom
Was scared of me getting
for
hurt.
us.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yeah. So she always was telling me about
Yeah.
like the scary things in
Which
the world.
scares me because I'm like that with the dogs. So like I know that I'm gonna be like that with kids, and I really want to not be like that. Like,
And
how
I
do you be
totally
like?
get it. Yeah, how do you balance? Because like now I'm like afraid to travel by myself because
Yeah.
I'm gonna die in a car accident or something. But
Yeah,
like
or get
I
kidnapped in a
want
country.
I want my kids to feel independent and confident enough to do things by themselves.
Yeah.
But also like I understand my mom warning me because she wants me to be careful and she's scared because she doesn't have control of me
Exactly.
anymore, you know?
Yeah.
But
And like my mom was your age when she had me. Like, so to me that's just so crazy because I'm like, I don't know anything. Like, how did our parents, like, they're also living their very first lifetime. Like, it's not like
Yeah.
there's some really knowledgeable, I mean they are, but like,
It's still so much you have to figure it out for yourself.
yeah. Did you guys watch The Parent Test, or have you watched that at all?
is it
No.
new?
Yeah, it's still running. It's the first season.
It's me and my sister were talking about starting it, but I have not.
It's really good. Like, it's I don't know how many people, but there's like a bunch of different parents, like single parents, a gay couple, like just a bunch of different family types, and then each of them have like a different parenting style, like free range or strict, or which
Sounds
those
like
aren't
chickens.
actually.
Yeah.
Cage free, free range.
Pasture.
Yeah,
Literally
pasture raised.
That's so true. Which those aren't actually the parenting types. Like, it's just authoritative authority. I forget
Yeah.
all of them, but those aren't really
Oh.
parenting types. So all of the parenting types on the show would fall into like the actual psychological based parenting types. But it's just very interesting because they give them challenges, like getting your kid to jump off a high diving board and then seeing, are they
my
like, be
God.
careful, or do they talk
That
them
sounds
through
really
it? Or,
good.
it's really good. Like, it's very interesting to see
Ooh,
all
I
the
want to watch
different
that.
ones.
I want to watch it with my mom.
Yeah, you should. That would be good.
What is it on Netflix?
It's on Hulu. I don't know what
Okay.
channel it's on,
Oh, fun.
but it's on like network
I'm
cable.
interested in that.
Yeah.
But
So
anyways,
they say that like good things happen outside of your comfort zone. What is that phrase?
Growth happens outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah, like you can only
everything.
You can only grow.
Yeah, when you're outside of your comfort zone. Whatever.
Yeah, I think
Do you guys feel like that's true? Like, have you experienced feeling growth and happiness like when you do let yourself get out of your comfort zone?
Totally, because like if you just stay inside your comfort zone, I mean, every time you go out of your comfort zone is how you grow or get something new. Going for a job interview, you have to step outside of your comfort zone. Like literally pitching a brand, you have to step outside of your comfort zone. Posting on social media, you have to step outside your comfort zone. But like,
yeah,
for me,
and everyone
I think
has different comfort zones.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And like Brittany's is probably like way
Hers is
bigger,
acres and
smaller,
like
bigger than mine. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like maybe because my mom always made me feel scared, But also my mom was
Our moms
always
are gonna hate
out doing
listening
stuff.
to this
So
episode.
I'm just trying to figure out why. I guess I've just always been shy and afraid to do things by myself. And that's why I like staying inside of my comfort zone. But I
Mhm.
You
know
think-
to grow, I have to get out of it.
Do you think like having somebody supporting you getting outside your comfort zone like makes it easier? Like if you're like,
Totally.
hey, I want to do this, and we're like, hell yeah, like go for it. Like
Yes.
you're gonna be great at it. Like I think that does make a big. I think it's like something that people kind of discredit. Like, oh, I didn't do it by myself, so it's like doesn't count. But like I think if having someone else like go with you to do something that's uncomfortable, like
Yeah.
that's still you getting outside
still
your comfort
doing
zone,
it.
even if you have like whether it's like just a friend in text message or on the phone, or you have someone physically with you. I think that makes a big difference, and I think it's still a big step to move outside of the comfort zone.
Yeah. Or like going back to with kids, like making your kid order their food or,
Yeah.
you know, just like being there
Mhm.
to support. But like now you try, you do it now.
The first time
Yeah.
I met one of Cameron's nephews and nieces, like we went all out to dinner, and I forget how old he was probably at the time, probably like 5 or 6, and they made him go up and order his own quesadilla. And I thought it was like the coolest freaking thing ever. Like I
is
never once
cute.
did that when I was little, and they were like, if you want it, like go get it. And he did.
My sister fucking hates when little kids order, when their parents are like, okay, tell her what you want. And they're like
Is she
behind
a
the menu,
server?
like, I want cheeseburger. Yeah. She's
I
a
just-
server. And like she's like in a hurry and she's like, okay, what do you want? What? Okay. And the mom's
That
like,
is so
tell
true.
her. Tell her what you want. No, and what do you want with it? Tell her,
Yeah.
not me. And my sister's just like,
That's so accurate. Or they order
Yeah.
something that like the parent doesn't want them to, and then the parent's like, wait, no, you said that you weren't gonna get that.
That's so true.
like, but you forgot to tell her that you don't want pickles. Tell her, not me. Tell her.
Yeah, I have no idea how to parent. Like that's so
No, but I think that's important to do.
I think also the reassurance and like validation, like at least when it comes to getting out of your comfort zone on social media, like it is true that if you post a talking story and you're so scared to post a story of you talking, when you get replies to it of people like relating to you, agreeing with you, starting conversation with you, that gives you reassurance to be like,
Yeah.
I'll post it again. Like if I was doing that and nobody was replying, I would feel down about that and not as
Yeah.
confident.
But I think like there has to be like a good balance of like letting that validation like benefit you, but also like doing it because like it's going to build your confidence and your trust in yourself, and like eventually
Yeah.
it'll find the right person, but like just not necessarily having that validation spike your like mood and everything, and then if nobody replies it plummets down, because
That's
that
so
also
hard to
creates
do.
it's so hard. I think it's one of the most
Well,
like difficult things to do with like really anything, like looking for validation and either doing something or not doing something with it or without it.
the crazy thing for me is how I am seeing how much internal validation I get from getting outside of my comfort zone, like going to the movies alone,
Mhm.
going out to eat alone. I never thought that I would do those things in my life. And it's just been crazy to me that once you're there and you're doing it, you're like, wow, why was I even scared?
I
Yeah.
And then
know,
you're
it's
not
the
scared to
weirdest
do it
thing.
again.
Yeah.
Like the first,
How-
like getting yourself there is so hard and scary, but
Yeah.
then you're there and you're like, oh, this is actually kind of nice.
Okay, my problem is I do get scared to do it again. Like I'll
Me
go say
too.
I'm driving, because a lot of it is driving for me, and like being or like
Yeah,
working out,
but
things like
like
that.
driving is fucking scary because there's so much that's out of your own control.
Yeah, but I do have that feeling of like once I do it, I'm so proud of myself. I like enjoy the place, because it's usually driving to like a place to also be
Mhm.
independent and do a thing on my own. So it's like I
Yeah.
feel so good about it, and I'm like, why was I even scared? I just did it. I made it home. But then the next time I get too scared to do it again.
Do you take too
Yeah.
big of a break in
Yes,
between?
that is my
That's
problem.
The other thing too, like do you reflect on it? Like do you kind of like cement it in your brain, like either journaling about it or just like even talking to somebody else about it? Like
Journaling
think-
would be a great idea, because I could go back and read it and
Yeah.
like know my
I was gonna
feelings.
suggest
I
that
think
too.
that's
Like
a really big thing to like when you go outside your comfort zone, like reflect on it. Be like, hey, what did I, and even if it sucked, like, what did you learn from it? Like, maybe, because I think sometimes it's like you have to test like what step is like the next step for you. And if you take like a massive jump and you're like, fuck, that was too much, you can just minimize it just a little bit. Like, you can
You
just like
know,
make it a little smaller, not that massive jump between where you are in that next place.
That's true.
what's funny is I literally just posted a TikTok talking about how last year I traveled alone and how it was so stupid because I didn't take any of the baby steps in between that I'm like going back and doing
That's
now.
true.
So I like
Yeah.
traveled alone and I was like, cool, I don't even like hanging out by myself. I can't go out
Yeah,
in
you're
public
like, I'm
by
just
myself.
bored.
I'm just sitting in this house alone. And yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting. Yeah, like wouldn't even go get a meal by yourself while you're on that
Yeah,
trip.
but like now I'm reflecting back on it and I was like, okay,
Uh-huh.
well, this is why it wasn't fun. Now I'm going to like take the baby steps. And I think getting out of your comfort zone is so important to take baby steps. It can be the smallest thing as like going to pick up a to-go order, like
Yeah.
trying, yeah, like walking around a new park by yourself for the first time. Like they can be the smallest steps, but then once you get the evidence in your brain that it wasn't scary, then you can
Yeah.
take another like gradual step.
Yeah, when it comes to driving, definitely the best advice I got was people told me like just go on the freeway for 10 minutes a week. Like just
Yeah.
make yourself do that
Yeah.
even if you're not going somewhere, like just do short stints on the freeway.
Yeah,
Which I
because if
just
you
need to
take
make
too
myself
big of
do.
a break, it's just going to build up back in your mind like that fake fear that the narrative in your head that you have, and it's gonna like
Yeah.
overcome the evidence that it wasn't scary.
What do
Yeah.
you guys do to like prep yourself to get out of your comfort zone or hype yourself up beforehand? Do you do anything?
I definitely, like, for certain things, I'll talk to people about it. And I think that really helps because it's like they're not in my head. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, they're like, no, this is awesome. Like, go for it. Do it.
Yeah, they can
It
give you
helps so
like the
much.
reassurance.
Yeah. And they like know you. So it's like they can be like, no, you've like done this a million times before. Like, even
Yeah.
pitching like that brand that I'm like obsessed with, like sending that pitch was so hard. But one of my friends was like, Brittany, shut up. Just send it. Like, it's the
Yeah.
most obvious
Yeah.
person to like pitch. Like, it's going to be the best partnership. Like, just send it. And like having that like little reassurance, I was like, oh, yeah, why the fuck not? Like, yeah, I'm going to send it. Like, it makes sense.
For me, I always envision, because I have anxiety and I'm always thinking about the future, but I flip it to be like thinking about the awesome outcome that it's going to get. So, like for traveling alone, it was all of the cool content that I was going to get, and I was excited about that. Or like traveling to Australia, I was thinking about how, all the cool things about, like, I focus on the good
What's
outcomes of
gonna
it.
come from it? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really good. I feel like I try music helps me a lot, like blasting pump up music and
Yeah.
just
Yes.
really
In your
trying to reframe my thoughts. Like, because when I'm going to do something scary like that, like the thought is like, you can't do it. You can't do it. This is so scary. This is so scary. And just trying to be
Mhm.
like, you can do this. You've done this before, blah, blah, blah. That really helps me. And then those like meditations, like talk through meditations on YouTube, they
Mhm.
make them for like everything, and I had no idea that that was a thing. But I was talking to one of my Instagram friends and she had like a public speaking thing she was nervous for, and so she did a meditation on public speaking before that. And like the driving ones are so good, and basically it literally is just somebody telling you, like giving you that self-talk in your head of you can do this, like it will be okay,
I
and
need
it makes
that
you
in my
feel
head
good.
all the time.
I know. There's a
That
guy
is
that
really
does
cool.
like
That's a great idea.
tapping things similar
Oh,
to
yeah.
that and like walks you through different like I'll have to think of his name. But he has like all these things like tapping for X, tapping for this feeling or whatever. And I kind of like those things too.
Yeah, that's cool.
Because it
That's
definitely like
so
helps you
interesting
get
to me.
out of your like the tapping piece like helps you really just get out of your head and like kind of come back into your body and like make those neural connections instead of like just everything being bouncing all over your brain and like feeling jumbled and crazy and like what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
Mhm. What I think is also weird is I didn't have a lot of this until I moved. Like, I feel like that adds a whole nother layer because I was never scared. I'd go to lunch by myself all the time. Like, when I was working, I'd go on my lunch break and go out to lunch. I would
Yeah.
be driving everywhere. Also, the freeways in Arizona, like, I'd drive to Flagstaff fine. Like, it feels different. Like, I don't know, there's
Yeah.
like an extra added layer of being in a fully new place that makes it more scary to like go to a workout class or something like that.
Yeah, and your
Even though
brain
it's-
must have just like got a bit of evidence and you're just clinging on to that fear or whatever.
Yeah, probably.
Like, I didn't used to have travel anxiety. I went all over the place all the time, no anxiety at all. And then all of a sudden, like, I have so much anxiety when I'm traveling and I don't know why.
What is the exact, like, do you know what it's around? Like, do you think something bad's gonna happen, or like, what are your thoughts?
I think I do think something bad is going to happen, but it's usually just like I just don't feel good.
It's just like in your
Like, it's
belly,
not fun.
like
Yeah, I just like I'm not having fun. I'm not happy. I'm just anxious. I can't sleep ever. And then it just makes me not feel fun when I'm traveling. And then I don't look forward to it. I don't want to do it.
I think COVID also had a massive impact on like
Yeah.
That's
ease
so
of getting
true.
outside your
Why do I
comfort
keep
zone.
forgetting about it?
Yeah, I
know.
think so many people discount it. Like, oh, it was like it happened to everybody. Like, it's, you know, there's so many like reasons why you can be like, COVID is not like no impact on me. But I think a lot of people, and even for myself too, like I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't trying new things. I wasn't going anywhere. So it's like way harder to start getting back into that. And it was like for some people, it was probably like 2 to 3 years of that.
It literally was.
I stopped dating and never started again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't make any new friends for 2 years or tried to make friends or anything. So it was like,
yeah, and it was like the perfect excuse to stay inside your own little bubble.
It was
And then
so
like
nice.
we just got so used to it.
And then like you
And
didn't
now
feel
it's
bad
like, oh,
because
shit.
everyone else was also doing nothing. Oh,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
felt great.
Oh, yeah. That is a big issue.
Yeah. But that feeling of discomfort, that's like, I think the largest part of getting out of your comfort zone is like that feeling that you get after or like while you're doing the thing is so uncomfortable. And I think
that's
that
why you don't want to put yourself
Yeah.
into that. Yeah.
like experience it again. But when we went to the couples therapist, that was like the main thing that that really stuck with me with it is like how much I hate sitting in any form of discomfort. Like
Yeah.
Me
I need
too.
things to feel 100% good. I want everybody to be in a good mood. If there's like any form of
Yes.
negative vibe or feelings, I hate it. Like I feel like I pick up on the energy like so much.
Yeah.
So
Hypervigilance.
yeah. So
Do
like
That's what it's called.
do you guys take showers with like music or podcasts or like TV shows in the
Podcasts.
background?
Podcast.
This is one thing I challenged myself with recently. Take a shower and don't put anything on because it's like a small period of time and it allows you to like just kind of be in your head, even if it's for like 5 minutes or if it's like a 30-minute shower.
That's really
And-
funny that you say that because, like, literally yesterday I was watching this TikTok of a girl. It was like a bunch of TikTok sounds playing at once. And she was like, this is how my mind sounds all the time. And I was like, that's exactly how I feel. Like, it just feels like there's constant noise and I hate sitting in silence. So I was like, I should just challenge myself, like, even 10 minutes a day or something to just not have anything on. Because even if I'm doing a
Be
meditation,
bored
it's still
for
people
10
talking.
minutes.
Yeah. Or just
Yeah.
my
Like-
own thoughts.
Yeah. Sitting with your own thoughts is hard. That's like the
Yeah.
what is your
Yeah.
brain thinking about?
Like when I start thinking and I'm in my own head, if I think about something that like made me feel embarrassed or nervous or something, I immediately pick up my phone and open TikTok because I'm like, oh, I don't want to think about that. Like get that
Yeah.
out of my head.
Yeah, same.
But then
So
your brain is like never processing. Like you might like have the feeling and you like can sense it, but then you're not like you can't let your brain process it and then you can't like overcome it.
No, because like you literally go into like survival mode almost because it
Yeah.
feels so intense. Like, so when we're fighting or something, to me, like my mind automatically goes to like, what if we break up? Or like, what if he stops loving me one day or something? And to him, he's like probably thinking about breakfast the next day because he knows that that's not
Yeah.
going to happen. Like, it doesn't even cross his mind. So,
Yeah.
like, it's the therapist suggested like any form of sitting in discomfort, whether that's like driving or literally doing anything, that helps you in all of these different ways of just learning to sit in that discomfort. So like if you get good at that in one situation, then when you're doing public speaking or whatever thing, you just know that feeling better and you're able to like sit in it further and be more comfortable with it.
That
Yeah.
is so
I think
smart.
that's kind of going back to parents though. I think like growing up, your parents like want you to avoid any sort of
Yep,
like
they
failure
don't.
or discomfort.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like my parents were very much like that. They like didn't want me to fail. So they try to put like a lot of different measures in place to help me avoid it. And instead I either rebelled or like I didn't get to learn the lesson like in that period of time. I like learned it later. And I think it's a really hard balance for parents to find because it would be nice for them to not have to watch your kids cry or suffer or like be
Mm-hmm.
embarrassed or be ashamed of other things. But I feel like we have to like learn those things too at the same time.
Yeah.
That's so true. I felt the same. Like it was either like I did good or I failed. And then if I failed, that's like the worst thing possible. I would never want to fail or disappoint anyone. Like there was no in between of learning that like it's okay to fail and like it's better to fail. You're going to fail many, many, many times in life. And the more you fail, the closer you get to what you're trying to accomplish.
And I don't think
Mhm.
like our parents like I don't know if you guys felt this too, but I mean, my parents were like superheroes. Like I had like that superhero complex. Like my parents could do no wrong. They couldn't fail. They couldn't do any of these things.
Yeah.
And like they didn't really want to share what they did fail in like the past, like growing up with,
Mm.
in their lives. And then like, whenever anything happened in their lives, like they didn't really share that stuff until like later. And then it's like, oh, that might have been helpful to see, like,
Oh,
or
that's really
witness or like
interesting.
understand. So it's like not just like them trying to prevent us from failing, but like they also don't share in their own failures too.
Mm-hmm. I think my mom was good at that and like made me feel more comfortable failing, or she'd like tell me about, there's like all those celebrities that didn't really become famous until like
Yeah.
Michael Jordan didn't make the basketball team or whatever. Like those types of stories she'd tell me and about herself. But yeah, I
Yeah.
guess more so with my dad, I didn't feel that way or felt like I couldn't fail whatsoever.
I
Yeah.
think my dad was pretty good at that. And my dad definitely wanted me to get out of my comfort zone. Like he still does. I don't know why I'm not like that.
Same.
But yeah, my
Do
dad
you
was always
avoid
like,
him though? Like to not have to like put yourself in uncomfortable or like get outside of your comfort
hmm,
zone? Like your mom is like more of your comfort zone?
maybe. Maybe that's why yeah, maybe.
This feels like therapy.
Yeah.
I always like learn so much on these about myself. Like
I
anything
know.
like my life.
That's
It
an
really feels like
interesting
a
take.
therapy session.
Do you want to like go through some of the questions from the Facebook group?
Oh yeah, sure. I didn't even see we got any.
Yeah, we got two really good ones.
Oh yay.
So Emma asked, "What's the biggest reward you've experienced from stepping outside of your comfort zone?"
Well, I would just say this career path. Like for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, this is the biggest thing I've ever stepped out of my comfort zone. It was like something I always wanted to do, but was always too scared to do, and being rewarded financially and with the community and everything is like definitely the biggest.
Yeah.
And
I think
moving.
Yeah.
every good thing about my life is because I stepped out of my comfort
Yeah.
zone.
God, it's
Like
so true.
just everything, like all the things I did as a kid that is an accomplishment to me, my career, like having even
Yeah.
like my TikTok doing well is
Yeah.
a reflection of me stepping outside of my comfort zone. There's just so much evidence to me that I need to stop being afraid of getting outside of my bubble.
Mm-hmm.
I think like a couple like specific examples for me were getting getting my big promotion. I went for a job that like I was competing against a couple people that were really really experienced, but I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get the job. And I definitely got a lot of like scrutiny like went throughout the interview process because I was like not as experienced, but like I just went for it and I did it. And then I got the promotion, which was like massive.
Mm-hmm.
Um
Huge.
the other one was like basically getting like in with like all the clubs and promoters in Chicago like when I first moved and being able to like just get bottle service and tables and like free meals and all of
That
this
is
stuff when I
sick.
first moved just because I was like I just asked one of the promoters one time. I was like, "What are you gonna give me? Like, what are you gonna do for me?"
Damn.
He like got us a table and like champagne and all the things.
That's
Um,
cool.
and then obviously like this one too, like just taking the leap and betting on myself, like with this job and like moving and yeah.
Yeah, all good things come from doing something scared.
It really is true. It's like when you know that if you do all the proper healthy things for your life and your body, then you feel well. But it's like hard to remind
Yeah.
yourself. Did I already talk about that? How humans are forgetful? That like Muslim thing.
I
No.
don't think so.
Jay Shetty was on the podcast with the Toast. Like Claudia interviewed just Jay Shetty separately, and he was talking about not Muslim. What is a monk? The monk.
Monk. Yeah.
Is that a religion or are they just?
I
They're just
think
monk?
it's a way of life.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
curious
like
actually.
Interesting. Well, one of the biggest aspects of being a monk is like that humans are forgetful. So like you often forget when you're sad, you forget what it felt like to be happy, even if it was like 2 days ago. You're like really stuck in that sad feeling, or like any of these
totally.
circumstances, you forget how it felt to get outside of your comfort zone. And like humans really are just forgetful. Like you
Totally.
forget how you feel. It's like every new day, every new hour, you're like you have to constantly remind yourself of the things you've done and the way that they've made you feel.
Yeah. Monks are in multiple religions.
Oh,
So there's
Buddhism
like Christian
or no?
monks,
I
Hindu
think
monks.
he was a Buddhist monk.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. Buddhist. Okay, yeah.
He has
love
a lot of
Buddhism. I think
really
Buddhism's
good
so interesting.
interviews and advice, like
Yeah.
practical advice for getting outside your comfort zone. I really like his podcast.
He's very wise.
He has that book, Think Like a Monk. I want to read that.
He just came out with I think he's on all these podcasts right now because he has that new like eight rules of love or something.
Yeah, it's about like love and relationships. That's cool.
And I think some of his episodes are really great because they're just like quick, like 20-minute episodes too.
Oh, really? I haven't ever listened to his podcast.
I
That was the first time I saw him.
Yeah.
I should listen.
I also like his accent too. It's very like calm.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
Another question we got was, have you ever regretted getting out of your comfort zone? I have regrets from not pushing myself out of my comfort zone, but I wonder if there's something the other way around too. And this is from Katrina. I love this one.
Me too.
I feel like maybe in the short term you could feel like you have a regret. Like if once again that's
Totally.
only from feedback though. Like I don't think you'd ever feel a regret just in yourself. Like only if you do something and then you get negative feedback from it or somebody telling you that it was wrong or something like that. But then overall I think you individually would still feel better and not regret it.
Yeah, I feel like regret maybe is too strong of a word because like I like traveling by myself. I don't regret it. Like I'm proud of myself for doing it now, but like did I really learn anything from it? Well, I guess I learned that I needed to work on other things before jumping straight into traveling, but
I was trying to think of like a specific example. I think I've regretted like going too far out of my comfort zone at first and like wishing I would have gone like a little bit step smaller.
yeah.
But I was trying to like think of a specific example.
It's kind of like with freaking dogs, like, and not pushing them outside of their threshold, or like when you're trying to train in a situation where they're way too distracted, or it's like too far of a step in training and you need to bring it back and go back to the basics.
Yeah.
Willow said, yeah, that's true.
Is there a time that you regret not pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone?
I don't think so. Like, I think maybe in the short term, like, I think a lot when I would first post about like any political things or not even freaking political, like literally human rights things, and I'd get a lot of criticism about it of like, and even people would post on their own accounts like about me, like saying like this girl like posting this stuff about Black Lives Matter and she's a dog account and why would she do that? And like,
oh my god,
dog accounts are just supposed to be happy and blah blah blah, like but I never actually like regret those things. It's just the negative feedback sometimes makes you feel bad.
Or like not going outside your comfort zone. Like you didn't actually get to go outside your comfort zone. You like
Oh,
held back.
regretted not doing it? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, all the time for everything.
Yeah. I think like my biggest regret is that I just lived at home for college and that I didn't go move somewhere and like force myself to make friends. I wish I would have like gone out of state or something, and my life would probably be so different.
Do you guys always think about, like, I always think about, like, what if I took different paths in life? Like, maybe in one life, like, I really wanted to live in New York City and, like, be a fashion designer. Like, what if I went
Yes,
to medical school or, like, there's so many
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, I would love to have a life where I lived in New York City, but like I don't want to live in New York City now. But
Yeah,
I just want to
same.
know what
Yeah.
it's like to live in New
Same.
York City.
After Gossip Girl, I was like,
Do you
I
think
need
you'll
to go to
ever
college
like
there.
live away from your like friend or your family, Devon? Like even for like a year or two?
Yeah, I think I will. I'm
I
working
think
up towards it.
that was
Watch
like
you
one of the
move when I
biggest
moved to Phoenix.
Yeah.
like
We switched places.
growth thing
Mhm.
was like
Yeah,
moving
it
to
would
Chicago.
be Yeah, it would be huge for me.
I felt like it was very hard for me to grow in Tucson being around, like, in the same environment that I always experienced. Like,
Yeah.
just leaving the environment helped so much to just be able to, like, be myself and figure out what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like one
Which
of the
part?
things I wish I would have like pushed myself out of my comfort zone more is like towards the end of my job in corporate, like I just let my manager like kind of dictate what was going to happen like with my career.
Mm.
And I wish I would have like continued to like network with people and like ask for what I wanted and like put myself in positions to get it. But instead I just like kind of like let myself like be complacent where I was. And it was definitely, I think part of it was like COVID. It was like so much easier just to like just go through the motions of my job and everything
Mhm.
else. But I think there's always like a reason for everything. And if I hadn't had him as a manager, like I don't think I would be doing this because I would have been like, because like
That's
I was
so interesting.
in a place to just continue to like just skyrocket in my career.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And I think having like those moments and like COVID and everything, I like just was able to put way more time and effort and energy into this and then like had the confidence to quit. But if I didn't, like I would have been probably like too wrapped up
Do
in
you
my
ever
job.
have regrets now, or like, yeah, regret is a strong word, but like wondering if you did stay in the job, like how life would be or the way that you'd be able to grow, or because you're so much more able to grow in this job, like you don't feel that?
I think that like the one thing that's in corporate that's kind of like I guess a good and a bad thing depending how you look at it is like a lot of the career paths are very like set in stone for you. So I kind of like
Stable.
knew what was coming. Like obviously I could have like pivoted and done different things. I could have worked for another company, but I think like I kind of knew what was coming. And as I got to know cuz like my goal is to be like a VP of something like at one point in time. And
Not
then
a
I
P,
started, huh?
not a president.
I don't even know what was like after president. Like VP was like
Oh,
the
that's
highest I
like
was
the,
like wanting to go.
oh.
But I started to get to know some of the VPs and I was like, I would fucking hate my life if I had your job. And
Mhm.
like just not just the pressure and like the responsibility and not being able to like balance your time with your family and all of that. Like I don't know. So
It's a
I'm glad
lot.
I got exposed to it, but I don't know. It was also like if I wanted to go into marketing and do something like this, it would have been like a $30,000 to $40,000 pay cut. And I was like, I would rather not take a pay cut and just like go into
Yeah.
this and
Yeah.
not and make more money than I
Yeah.
was making before.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, you can pick very easy ways to get out of your comfort zone, like we were saying, like do very small things at first. Don't jump to the biggest possible thing.
Yeah.
I also think it's good to like see what like work backwards too. Like what is that bigger thing that you kind of aspire to do or
Mm.
be?
You're
And then
so
what
good
are
at
like
that.
all of the little things to get to it because you know it's hard to know what you should actually be pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone. Especially I feel like if you've been in that place of just like being in comfort. And I think for context too, like as an example, like moving here, like Joe and I have like kind of gotten in more of a routine of like going skiing and like hanging out at home, like cleaning up here, like working. And I think the next step for us, especially coming into summer, is like putting ourselves in more situations to like meet more couples or more friends or things like that. And that is kind of like the bigger goal of like finding another community of people that we're like able to like meet up with at the mountain or whatever. So I think the first thing is just like even could just be like making a point every time we're at the mountain to say like hi to somebody like that's parked next to us.
For sure. That makes it so much harder that you guys are both working from home now, because a lot of the friends that I have are like the girls that Cameron worked with, or they're the boys' girlfriends.
Yeah.
Or my only other friend here I met on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like pretty hard.
Those are literally the ways you make friends. Work and social media.
Well, I think
Yeah.
I like can really lean into social media more. There are a couple girls I know that like are in Denver, or in like the Denver area, and a couple of them ski. So like I think it's just a matter of like being intentional. The one thing that does suck, especially with skiing, and this is just more of an excuse, and again, it's being comfortable because most people work on the weekdays and they like want to go skiing on the weekend. And we're the opposite because we like don't want to deal with the traffic and stuff. But it would just be uncomfortable that we'd get up at like 4 o'clock on the weekends and then drive to the mountains and everything. But like that would be a small step, is just like doing that and making the effort to actually make the plan instead of saying, oh yeah, like let's meet up. Like, no, let's actually meet up and make the plan for
Does
it.
it make you nervous to hang out with people one-on-one, or is that not a thing for you? Because
Not
for me,
really.
that's hard.
I mean, like coffee or drinks with somebody. I definitely like,
that's like very nerve-wracking for me.
to be honest,
Me too.
I think I'm like selfish in some ways because like I don't want to waste my time going, like it's more like I don't want to waste my time going to meet somebody that I like am not gonna like. Like I could go to coffee with anybody and talk to them for like an hour and it wouldn't be a big deal. But it's like more like I avoid it because I'm like, what if I don't like them? And
that's kind of how I feel. Like I feel like, oh, this person's not gonna be like my best friend. So like, what's the point? Kind of.
Yeah. But then that's where I think I have to like really reframe and be like, they could be your best friend. Like you guys are your best friends. Like we've met. Like we haven't met, but me and Devon met. But like, I think it's just a matter of like doing that first thing. And I don't know. And I've met okay, here's this is like it in action. Here, I'm talking myself into it. I'm like walking myself through the steps right now.
Do it.
I have like met up with so many incredible people like that I've connected with, and even like just brand deal boss clients. Like there was one girl who like came in for a wedding and she was like, let's get coffee on Sunday morning. So we like met up and I was like, oh my God, why don't you live here? So like there's so many people I have already met on social media that I'm like best friends with, or like I just really enjoyed their company. So
oh my God, there's so many people I'm always like, I wish that you lived closer. Like but it's so
just
cool
a matter
to
of like
think about
finding the connection like with the people that do live here.
But it is cool to think about that you know so many people in different states, like where it's kind of like you could go almost to any state and be like, oh, I have a friend here, that would be cool to hang out with. We could go to Colombia and we'd have people we could have our first meetup in Colombia.
That would be funny.
Really cool things about Colombia.
Do you think that you will try the Meetup app, or is it an app or a website?
I need to.
I think I downloaded it and I was not a fan.
Really?
Of just like the interface.
It's so hard. I guess what I like about Bumble BFF is that you can see what like people say what their interests are and stuff. But like just going to a group meetup, how do you know
isn't
that
the
you're
meetup
gonna
like
like
about
anyone?
a topic or something? Like isn't it like mountain bikers come to this, or like
so then what group would I be in?
You could do something like art and culture or dancing. There's like
or book clubs, or
let's see if there's
but like books, that's so broad. How do I know that
that's
anyone's gonna be? I should do something more like, did you go to the What We Said show or something?
Yeah, that is a thing though, for sure.
Is there a Facebook group for like What We Said, or I mean with
They don't have a community. That seems surprising, honestly, that they don't.
You could always
I
see if there's
know.
people in Jenna's group that
Oh,
do
yeah.
things and like meetups.
Yeah, but something more like that would be my
Yeah,
type of
there's this
people, I
girl
feel
here
like.
actually that her name's Foodie Snitch is her account, and she posts like Portland restaurants and like just different things around Portland for people to go to and reviews them and stuff.
Mhm.
But she has been hosting a few event type things like that where just a bunch of people get together and it's like so you can meet other girls and whatnot. But I was out of town the last time
That's
she did it.
cool. I wish
But I
I
was
wasn't
thinking
so
I could
afraid
do
to do
that.
things like that.
Oh, I would be so
Like
scared too.
host.
I would only go if like my friend Catherine would go with me. Like I shouldn't say that. Like I make rules for myself. Like when I should just say I should go by myself.
The one thing
Yeah.
I trust a little bit more about like social media meetups like that, like, is oftentimes a like a social media influencer is like attracting one, like their goal is to attract a certain type of person for their
Mhm.
Yeah.
audience. So if you like them and they're trying to attract you, then you're probably gonna like the other people that are like being
Yes.
gonna meet
That's
up
what
in
I
that group versus
always
like
say about Dog Mom Club. Like I'd be like, I know all of you girls separately and I know like
yeah.
all the things that you each have in common. So like to be together, I'm like, you guys are all so similar. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's so cool.
Do you not have a lot of people from Dog Mom Club that are like in your area?
No. There's not I'm not really like close friends with anybody besides my friend Catherine that like lives here. There's a lot of people in Seattle more.
Yeah.
So it's like I could drive a little bit. There's not as many people in Portland.
That's
Dang.
tough.
But then I also have such a thing. I'm like, okay, well, if we want to move back, then what's the point? Even though that's like, it's so stupid too. I was like in a pandemic. I'm like, okay, what's the point? I'm in a pandemic. And then I'm like, okay, what's the point? Maybe I'll move back in 3 years. Like, that's still so long.
Yeah, it's just an excuse to
It
stay inside
is.
of your comfort zone and not
Yeah.
have to do anything.
Do you guys make excuses a lot? That's probably one of my biggest problems.
Oh yeah, it's so annoying.
Yeah,
All the
I think
time.
it's
Or
so
put it
easy to make
off.
excuses to like not do something.
Yeah, especially like
Or
I can do it later.
the other thing I was like thinking, I think I said this yesterday in my story. I like recorded it a couple times, so I don't know what I actually ended up saying, but that just reminded me of Maggie's. I talk a lot, so I don't know. But I think there's also like not just like making excuses, but like making an excuse to like make yourself do something before you're allowed to do the bigger thing. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I have
Mm.
to, you know, post this one more time before I'm able to like send the pitch, even though
That
like
is
Yeah.
I've posted a
very
million
true.
times. Or like, oh, I have to just do, I don't know.
It has to look a certain way before I release
Yeah.
it, or I have to finish this one. Yeah, that's very true.
Or like I should journal a little bit more on like this or that before I like try something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But that's another thing I do.
Yeah.
And I think it makes it okay in my mind because I'm like, oh, like I'm gonna do it. I just am gonna do this other thing before I do it. And then
Exactly. That's why I think like self-care is really hard for me because a lot of the times like the actual self-care would be doing the thing, not letting myself
yeah.
take a break and do whatever other
Yeah.
things.
I think
Totally.
that's one of the things I uncovered this year. Like it is kind of uncomfortable to do all the self-care things because it's like one, it's spending time with yourself. And if you're like not comfortable with like your thoughts and yourself, like it can be overwhelming and like what the fuck. But then at the same time, like there's so much that comes from it and so many like lessons that are like, okay, I need to like actually make time for this more often.
Yeah.
Yeah, thinking about your future self and how they will thank you for doing what you don't want to be doing.
Yeah, the discipline versus motivation is
Yeah.
very
Discipline
hard.
is hard.
That's what Brittany, you're like so good at that of like literally in every situation, like you're able to see like the top goal or like the end goal of what you want, and then what are the steps to get there. Like you're very like, okay, if I want to make $75,000, I need to sell this many courses, I need to sell this many blah blah blah. Like I need to get a brand deal for this much each month. Like you're very able to see the whole direction, and I feel like that's what I struggle with, is like it's very much like the day to day, and I see the end goal, but I'm not good
Yeah.
at like being like I need to do this and this to be able to get there.
I think it's because I'm like so motivated by that end goal. Like I'm
Yeah,
so like I want this so badly, and that's more exciting, and like that's what kicks my butt more than me being like, I have to write this email so that people will sign up for my masterclass like workshop. Like
that's what
that's
maybe I lack
not,
motivation, I think. Like
or maybe you just have to make your like bigger, grander goal more exciting and like define like the purpose behind it.
I think
Like,
that's what it is, because it's almost like my big goals are too like they seem just out of reach, I guess, in my mind, to where
Yeah,
it
too
almost
many
seems too
steps.
yeah.
That's how I
yeah,
feel too.
maybe like make a middle goal then of like,
Yeah.
and like hype yourself up about it and like get super excited about like why is this middle goal like something you want to
The
hit.
way to go. Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
I think that is a good point though. Like you said, if it's too out of reach, it just seems like, and that's why maybe that's why you guys have trouble manifesting sometimes. Because if you
Because it
don't
feels
believe
too out
it,
of
if
reach.
you don't
That's what
believe
I'm
it,
saying, is
it's
there's always
not.
still that voice in the back of my head that's like, well, that's not going to happen, even if I'm telling myself like it will
Yeah.
happen.
You
Or
have to like get
maybe
behind it and actually believe it, and it's like it's fucking happening. And
maybe
if you
you
don't have like
don't
that
want it
feeling,
as much as you tell yourself you want it
That's
also.
also a fear that I have.
Not to put that fear further in
No,
your head, but
it
like when
is.
I really
Yeah.
want something, I will stop at nothing to like work towards it. But like, or like for me, maybe starting a newsletter, I don't really see the connection of how that's going to make me TikTok famous. So like I'm not as focused on doing that. Or
Mhm.
I don't know. I just feel like there's like a lot of reasons why you're probably not motivated to do certain things.
I don't know. It feels like that's where my brain is broken. Like that's how I've felt my whole life, is like, how are these other people doing the thing? Like, because I like say I want to make $100,000 this year, and I can see which steps like doing this will get me there. Like if I work an extra hour at night, I could get there, blah blah blah. But like it's doesn't connect in my brain that they would be the same thing.
but like, what if it is 100? Like, is
This is really
$100,000
turning
like
into a
a
therapy session
goal?
again, and I wasn't trying to do that. It really is, like you said, sitting down, and that's what I was saying is like I'm stressed that I don't have time this month, because that's what I really wanted to focus on this month, is making those steps and being like, how do I get there? Because all I do is separate. If I want to make, I made 75,000 my goal. So if I want to make 75,000, then I have just the per month and per quarter that I need to make. But instead, I need to be like, what do I need to make that much each month?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you have like a reason like why you want to hit 75,000?
To make Cam's base salary. I don't know. No, I don't have a reason. That's a great point.
I
My
feel like
goal is
if
to buy a
that's
house, but I don't have a reason to hit 75,000. I have a reason. I really want to save 12,000 more dollars by June. So that's a goal. But you're right. I don't have a number or a reason why I want to make a certain amount per year besides impressing other people.
yeah, which is not really like a
Doesn't make you feel good.
no, and it's not like a passion fueled like reason to do something.
Yeah.
So like maybe there's other things that, because like if you did make 75,000, yeah, you'd have like, okay, you'd chop off 15,000 for the house. You're at 60,000. You get to go on another vacation. You get to live more lavishly. You get to pay for things in your wedding maybe. You get to
Yeah, I
furnish
think
the entire house.
it maybe is also that I haven't really struggled, because my parents have always like given me the things that I want, and I'm very like lucky to have that. So I've never really experienced like feeling, I mean, I get stressed about financials or not being able to pay things, but I always know that at the end of the day, like I'm fine.
Yeah, you don't have the necessity, like if I don't do this, then I can't eat.
Yeah, like to me, I'm like,
type
I'm gonna
of-
go on vacation. Like, like I
Yeah.
don't need the motivation to do that. I just like know that I will, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe you have to like think of your bigger goals then. Like you want to
Yeah.
open up the like brick
Yeah,
and mortar place.
Yeah, I really want to do that, and I want to have rescue dogs, like, and save them.
And you do want to kind of hire somebody.
Yeah, there are a lot of goals. Yeah, I just really need to write this down. Okay, the week of the 13th. That's what I'm doing.
You should call it your
Hold me
dream week.
accountable, people.
Your
Oh, I
dream
love
week.
that. Why is that so cute? I've literally
I
had
like
on my
that.
to-do list every day, write down dream life.
Yeah.
Just do it. Get it over with. You'll be happy that you got it done.
And don't like judge yourself for it. And let
Do
it
it on the
truly be like
plane.
Maggie's dreams, not like Maggie's dreams to impress other people.
I love that. That's so hard for me to do. But yeah, I love that.
Be
Well,
selfish.
thank you for tuning in to Maggie's Therapy Session Part 2. Okay.
I think it's just getting outside your comfort zone is a hard thing. And it's okay that it's hard.
It's hard for everyone. Yeah.
And
Life happens when you're outside of your comfort zone.
Devon.
All the best things come from doing something that scares you.
We should put a quote, like, post it on our Instagram. Life happens when you're outside of your comfort zone. Devon.
I'm pretty sure someone else has said that before.
That's why it's funny. Like, and then you like the Michael Scott quote. And then you put it.
Yeah.
We should do that. Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to another episode. If you have any more questions or anything, you can put them in our Facebook group. You can also post anonymously in our Facebook group. So, like, if you have something anonymous that you want to ask to the community of people, you can do that, or you can put it in our Google form. But make sure you follow us on Instagram and TikTok, rate and review our podcast wherever you listen to it, subscribe to us on YouTube, and we'll see you next week. Love you. Bye.
Bye.